welcome to People in Perspective. I'm Sean O'Connell, and joining me on this program is Zara Johnson, a breast cancer spokesperson. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
My first question to ask is, how did you first be involved in the Mrs. Illinois contest?
Well, I first became involved. One day I was shopping. I walked into a store and I saw this lady watching me, and I couldn't figure out why. I proceeded to go through the racks. I came back around through the racks, and she came and approached me and asked me if I were married. And I was like, I couldn't figure out why she was asking me that question. Mm-hmm. So I said, yes, I am. And she said, you should be in the Mrs. Illinois pageant. And I was like, I don't really do pageants. I don't think so. She said, well, here, take this information and look us up on the website and give us a call if you decide you're interested. So the lady that owned the store, I knew her well, and I asked her if this woman was for real, and she said, yeah, and she thought it was a great idea. So I went home, I talked to my husband and my older children, and they all thought that because I was just 2 years from being diagnosed with breast cancer, and they thought it would be a great idea to have me participate in something that would get my mind off of being in that survival mode and go on with my life. So that's really why I decided to do it.
Now, do you think you would win?
I never thought I would win. I focused on my costume, my gown, and just wanted to learn from the experience, step out of the box. I was usually the behind-the-scenes person, so I thought this is a great opportunity to kind of get me doing something other than what I was used to doing. So I never thought I would win, though. And when I walked away, when I won the best costume during the pageant, I thought, okay, that's great. But when they announced me as Mrs. Illinois, I was blown away.
Huh. How did winning change your life, and how did it feel when you were crowned?
Winning has changed my life in the aspect, as I mentioned before. I've always been the behind-the-scenes person. I've been that person that encouraged my husband. I encouraged I have 2 boys. I encouraged them, and I was never the one to want to step out and have focus placed on me. So it's changed me in a way that I've become a different person. There's a me that I never knew existed. So I've become a lot more outgoing, and having the platform as a breast cancer survivor, I've learned to go and speak to others about surviving that disease.
All right. What responsibilities come with being Mrs. Illinois? Well,
as Mrs. Illinois, you want to represent all the women, married women of our great state, and that can be from participating in Avon's walk against domestic violence, which I've done that, or anything that can be something detriment to your life, to encourage people that life can go on, but you've got to learn how to pick yourself up and move forward. So that's been my responsibility. My responsibility as a breast cancer survivor is encourage women and men as well, because some men are diagnosed, is to encourage them to be vigilant about their health and make their doctor visits and do self-exams. So that's what my responsibility has been as Mrs. Illinois.
It sounds like a very good responsibility.
And it is, but you know what? I've learned that it's something that's needed, and people will listen to you for whatever reason. When you have a crown or when you have a title, they tend to listen to you a little bit more than if I was just a person on the street.
All right. As a breast cancer survivor and spokesperson, what would you want young people to know?
Well, I take surviving breast cancer, I take cancer period as being a bully. It's a bully, and I know that young people nowadays, they go through the same things with bullying at school. So that's what, I think this whole lesson has been, is to, speak up against it and fight against it. And that's what I've done with breast cancer. I fought hard so that I'd be able to continue on with my life and not let breast cancer take anything from me. And I think it's the same with bullying. You can't let anything like that take away from who you are.
That is very good. And I've also heard you work at Sister Rose Development in Plainfield. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I've been with Sister Rose Development for about 24 years now. It's a family-owned general contracting firm, and I've been their office manager, doing a little bit of everything from human resources to safety to accounts receivable and accounts payable. And they've been very supportive of me. It's a father and son owned company, and they've supported me through my illness, and they also supported me through my attempt in my winning the Mrs. Illinois title.
Wow. And what advice would you give to Miss Illinois 2012?
Well, the advice that I gave Mrs. Illinois 2012, she approached me the night after she was crowned, and she thought that she had big shoes to fill because she had known about some of the things that I had done. And my advice to her was to be herself, be the best that you can be. I try not to pattern myself from anyone else. I try to look within myself and do what I feel is best and represent myself to the best that I can. And that was my advice to her, be the best that you can be.
Wow. I've actually also heard that my Aunt Sherry, she actually had cancer, and she actually was able to survive it.
Mm-hmm.
So
that is more and more women and men are surviving cancer. You know, back when I was growing up, the C word, as we called it, nobody ever talked about it, and scientists hadn't come as long as they have now with developing treatments to fight the disease. So more and more women are surviving cancer. People are surviving cancer across the board. So that's really a positive thing, and it's really good to see that happening.
I have to say, I think modern technology quite a lot. Without it, I actually had to have my appendix removed before.
Oh, wow.
It's had appendicitis.
Mm-hmm.
And so they say if it was an earlier time, say maybe 90s or something like that, it'd be much more likely my appendix would have burst.
Oh, wow.
So I really give much bigger I really give a very large thanks to the modern medical technology.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I'm so glad that science has come as far as they can to help so many people be able to survive cancer and all these other illnesses.
And we still have a ways to go, but you know, the focus is still there. Nobody's giving up. More and more, we're all talking about it. And I think, like I said, when I was growing up, we never wanted to discuss cancer. And it took me a while to realized that I wanted to share my journey. I went through my treatment pretty much without talking about it. It took me getting through it and understanding it, educating myself, and I think when you educate yourself, you empower yourself. So it took me getting through that before I was willing to speak out and speak up about what I had gone through and to encourage folks that you can get through it.
All right. It looks like at the show today we are going to have to end this right now. So thank you for being on the program today.
Thank you, Sean, for having me.
We'll see you next time on People in Perspective.